Hi, everybody. This is Tom with Culture Chat. So, today I want to talk to you about several topics. I don't really have to bring it down, but I'm going to call it air and allergies. So, let me start with particulates on stage. So, when you're smoking a cigarette on stage. So, a lot of people are using vape pens on stage, e cigarettes, and that is causing some problems for the actor and the other actors around you. So, there are different kinds of cigarettes. Um, I'm going to leave a link to the one that is used the most, which seems to be perfect. Also, there are herbal cigarettes, but what I find that works the best is no lighting at all. So, the last time I had a cigarette on stage, I just had the actor have it, do the motions, not lit. They did the actions of lighting it. You didn't see anything, but the other actors waved the smoke, the imaginary smoke, out of their way. They coughed when the smoke was near them, and they never lit the cigarette. And the audience said, "I love that. I love the cigarette. Blah blah. How do they smoke on stage?" Well, it was never lit. Okay, we know it's stage. We know it's artifice. You can actually get away with this. Now, when you have to have smoke on stage, when you must have it, do your thing. But realize that sometimes vaping smells or herbal cigarette smells or the smoke itself will affect other actors. Just that is a possibility. Okay, people aren't being too sensitive, they're just telling you what's going on for them. Everyone has to be there together. Okay, so look for that. um, Also, I really like what works for me is the character with the cigarette that can't find a light and it's chasing around people like, and it's not in the lines, it's just motion like, what? No. And finally, when they find a light, it's off stage and they come back and they have the cigarette butt, just the end of it, and someone takes it out of their hand. I loved that bit. I thought it was hilarious. And the audience clapped for it. Unfortunately, I was so in love with it, it sort of took away from the main action. I was like, can't always have the jokes I want. But I kept it in. And the actor adjusted. The next thing is fog. Fog on stage. You as a producer, an artistic director, a director, you're in love with the haze and the fog and so forth, but it comes at a price. All right. The low-lying fog, the what we think of as dry ice fog, is carbon dioxide. That's all carbon dioxide. Whether it comes out of a machine or you make your own little dry ice thing, which is a pain to handle. That's asking a lot. And it doesn't always behave the way you want to. Low-lying fog tends to stay in place, people think. But the reality is, if you have anyone moving around, pants, feet, walking around in it, it's going to move. It's not going to raise up very much because of the nature of that type of product, carbon dioxide. The idea of keeping the low-lying fog the whole scene or the whole show, that's problematic. Okay? It's not going to stay where you want. It's going to drift away and probably drift into the audience because your stage is higher than the audience and it's going to drip down over. If that's the effect you want, great. But realize we're all in the same room together. And even though the room is large, it's still an enclosed room. Okay? We breathe out carbon dioxide. The exchange that we have, breathing as humans in the same room with other humans, that's enough. That's enough carbon dioxide in the air. We don't need to add to it for a 2-hour show. Think again. Now, the stuff that's in the air, the haze that's in the air, that is glycerin or mineral oil. So the haze that you see in the air is tiny particulates hanging in the air. And you love the effect and so forth, but it takes its toll on people's voices because they're breathing that in. And the mineral oil, the glycerin, gets attached to the vocal cords. Maybe not as much as you think, and you think, well, he said microscopic. It still takes its toll. You know, especially in a show that is running 8 shows a week for year after year, it takes its toll. And you think, well, I'm not one of those theaters. This is a 6-week run. This is a 3-month run. It's fine. No, it's not. Different people have different problems with their vocal cords, and you shouldn't add to their issues. So if you can do your effect your get the smoke out there and so forth, and then you can really achieve the effect you want with lighting, because you can't have bright light and your haze in the air look without lowering your lights a little bit. Okay, that's part of it. So get your effect, and then get your lighting where you want it, and then let it dissipate. We've gotten it. We understand the scene. You don't need it the whole time. People will buy it. They really will. Have a look at your favorite shows and how they do that. It affects the voice. The next one is body, body and air. We're all around each other with different products. So the first one I'm going to say is an actress who I love very much, and she's going to get mad at me. You may even see her in the comments, but she doesn't wear deodorant. Now, this wasn't a problem at all. None of us even knew. But then the show was in the summer, and the heat became a problem. And whatever she was eating or smoking started coming out through her pores. And the smell was very acrid. Do you have that word in your country? Acrid. It's sort of sharp and pungent. It doesn't really travel very far, but when you have an actor who's in close proximity with other actors and everyone backstage, it becomes a problem. You need to wear deodorant. Allergic to deodorant? There's always some product out there for you. And there shouldn't be any fragrance on stage, whether it's you and your own personal fragrance, and I mean your body fragrance that your body is creating with no help, or fragrance that you wear. Don't do that. We don't need that on stage. It's distracting. It can be very overwhelming. And some people have problems with fragrance for whatever reason. The next one is allergies, and it leads us into food allergies next. The actress in question in the show, not my show, her coworker, the man that she was in all the scenes with, was getting hives mid-show. It was terrible. And it was very noticeable to the audience. And they couldn't figure it out. Well, part of the show is they're in love, they're dancing, they're singing. There's a lot of hands on each other's bodies, a lot of hands on shoulders, her hands on him, his hands on her, a lot of that, a lot of tango. And she wore almond oil as a moisturizer, which he was allergic to nuts. And the problem is, she didn't believe this was a problem. She came up with all kinds of excuses. It started with, how can the minimal amount of almond oil on my body affect him? Well, it was, okay? And then she got so fixed in her shoes about this, she was taking a stance. How dare you tell me what I can wear as a moisturizer and what I can't? You are involved with other people on the stage. They are touching your body, your clothes. They are around you. You are touching them. So, yes, you are our business because you're causing a chemical reaction on the stage. You need to change. That's a big problem. Nut allergies are very common, which leads me into food allergies. Food allergies. So, what you eat on stage, what you drink on stage is everyone's business. There was a show I did where the stagehand just changed the fake liquor they were drinking on stage. They ran out of what they were making the fake liquor from. The liquor on stage in question was a bourbon and a couple other things, and they had various shades on them. One was amber, and the bourbon I think was very dark. It was sort of a rich caramel color, and it was all done with food dye and water. Genius. And they hadn't been watching what was happening. Actually, we worked in a repertory theater, and the other show was using food dye as well, so it started dissipating. Between both shows, they used too much. So they weren't paying attention to the food stores, and they just started using Coca-Cola and water. And we had 2 type 1 diabetics in that cast that were drinking this liquor and having massive blood sugar increases during the show, which affected their energy. You can't mess with that. You don't know what's going on with people's bodies. Now, You can't change once something has been approved. And actors, you need to state to the people that are doing the food stuff, the drink stuff, everyone needs to know, especially if you have something that's life-threatening. So they needed to know that they were type 1 diabetics. Stage management needs to know, management needs to know, the people doing the food, whether it's stagehands, whatever, they need to know. And theater, you need to tell them what you're giving them. Everything. Everything, everything. Now, this seems to be an unknown law and often forgotten about in theaters. And I have one production manager who gets mad at me, like, oh, the actor needs to tell us. It's their responsibility. Yes, when they do, it's also your responsibility as the theater to tell them what you're feeding them. Everything. The actors that are eating on stage and drinking on stage need an ingredients list. When the actor says, I must have sugar-free, you need to do that. I must have caffeine-free, you need to do that. You need to find things out there. There's so many resources out there for my actor can't have this, my actor can't have that. What do you use? Other theaters are more than happy to share with what they did. It's a common problem. What you eat on stage is everyone's business too. There was a show, Bus Stop, and the actress playing Cherry, I think her name is, the Marilyn Monroe part, she eats 2 donuts on stage when they're in the bus stop cafe. And, nose. The actress said, I have major problems with regular flour and so forth. No donut that's commercially made could help. I will make the donuts myself. I'll make a massive supply that you can put in the freezer. So we'll have 50 to hand and you can just frost what you need. And they said, really? She's like, yes, it's my problem. It's my body. So I'm going to provide the show food. Let me do this. Then I know exactly what's going in me. Because if you don't, we're going to have big problems on stage. And they said, oh, what kind of problems? She's like, you don't want to know. Don't make actors tell you what kind of weird body things are going to happen to them on stage. Just believe them. That's very important. So she did that. The actor on stage in that show, he is trying to get Cherry to go with him, and he drinks 2 glasses of milk and a burger on stage. The milk product was in a clear glass originally, and they used real milk, skim milk, with water. For some reason, the milk and the milky water under the stage lights at the time, they were still hot stage lights, not the nice LEDs we have today. They separated and they looked very odd, and they sort of had curdles on top because it was a cafe thing and the food stuff was out the whole time. So by the time the milk was drunk, it looked odd. So we changed to a colored glass. So the middle of the glass had color, and then the props people painted the top with a milky film, and he had water, and the way it was drunk, the audience couldn't see what it was. So very believable. The milky substance, the part of the glass that was clear, convinced the audience it was what it was. And he drank water, much easier on the body than anything heavier like milk, even skim milk. The burger he ate, because he said, if I eat beef, or I eat this, my body's really going to slow down, and this is an action show. I have to run and jump. It'll give me indigestion. Again, we don't need to know why. We understand. Especially financially, it was better to go the way they did, which was what we call in America a Boca burger, a vegetarian burger. And the burger was large. So again, this is a problem. They told the actor what was in the Boca burger. Everyone saw the ingredients. And they worked with the actor, and basically his body, how do I explain this? The center of the burger was hollowed out. There was no center. So the way he picked up the burger and ate the burger, he was just biting into this gaping center. So the top was covered, blah, blah, it was very thin. So it was sort of structured so the whole center was gone. And whenever he held it, he would just turn it, so the audience wouldn't see that it has this massive center missing. Less less food stuff to go into the actor, vegetarian food stuff to go into the actor. With the water he was drinking, it all worked very well. So the Boca burger looked like a real burger. He didn't consume this massive meal before doing all this running, jumping, dancing. It all worked really well. And it all worked with his body. It worked with their finances. Was easy to make. It's all good. So tell them what you're feeding them. An actor, you tell them what your particular food problem is. Maybe you don't have a food problem. Maybe you have no allergies. Maybe it's just the amount of food they want you to consume on stage. Work with them. Come to think of it, also another problem, there was a show that had a party scene that took place in the 1920s, and they were eating canapes. It was all very Art Deco and wonderful. And the one character was crunching on nuts. That's in the script. And the placement of the characters, because it was little cocktail tables in this party sequence, the actors on stage were not allergic to nuts, but the audience members were. And despite our best efforts of saying at the ticket booth, by the way, there are nuts in this show, very near to the audience, people still took those seats, the expensive seats, to sit really close up. And close up in this theater was about 5 feet away from the actors where the nuts were happening. Okay? So when you look at the script, the whole idea of the actor eating nuts was sound. And in reality, the sound was better with corn chips or crisps. That made a much better sound, much more comedic. And even though they decided, oh, that wasn't 1920s and we're not being perfect, well, why not? It was a comedy, okay? They put little fancy hors d'oeuvre stuff and like little silly food stuff on the chips, and they were like, oh, how avant-garde. It was very funny. The chips were louder, the joke was funnier, and nobody was allergic, okay? But it's not something that we foresaw ahead of time. Oh, we've checked with all the actors. Nobody in the cast or the crew is allergic to nuts. We can do this bit. Oh, we forgot the blocking. Nuts have oils. We don't know proximity to nuts, how that worked with people. Yes, we put a warning out. Audience members were still allergic. You never know, okay? Should have been enough. And like I said, those ticket people, they're going to write mean comments. We told people. I know you told people. I believe you. But audience members didn't pay attention. So there's a lot of things out there. Investigate everybody on stage. Investigate what it does for the audience, what you're doing, what you're wearing, the scent you're wearing, the air, the cigarette prop, the things you're eating, the things you're feeding them. It all helps make a much smoother show, much smoother, okay? Because we don't want problems like this and have to, spend more money on a product that we didn't know we had. Oh, no more nuts in the show? We bought 50 pounds for the run. Well, buy 50 pounds of corn chips now. Oh, it's not in the budget. Whoops. Oh, we can't feed you soda? We bought 10 gallons. Well, no, you can't. You can't have caffeine? You can't have sugar? Oh. There's lots of things out there. I'll have some links in the description down below to follow. Remember, there are a lot of groups online where you can say, I have this unforeseen problem with this style of liquor. How do you make this look of liquor without having caffeine or sugar or this? Lots of help online. What do you do with food on stage? What do you do with this on stage when you have this issue? Okay? There's lots of help. All you have to do is pursue it. Okay? I hope this helps. I'm going to get one of those comments from my favorite naughty people who are like, oh, another scolding video. I'm not scolding anyone. You've done nothing wrong, right? You just didn't know this was a thing. Now you know, okay? And where did this come from? I'm no genius. This comes from listening to green room complaints and stories. What happened at your theater? Well, you'll never guess what happened at that theater. So you start to get this knowledge like, oh, this is a problem. This is a problem. because you hear all these horrible stories that you may laugh at, but this isn't a channel about telling you disaster stories, okay? Just avoid them. Just avoid them. I'm not scolding anyone. I'm just helping you out. All right. Although I like comments. Yeah, but don't scold me because you think I'm scolding you. I'm just helping. All right, that's enough for today. Please subscribe. I'm getting a lot of views, but I need more subscribers. All right, please subscribe. The button's right there. Thanks, and we'll talk again. Bye.